The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
A number of years ago, I went to Levaya of a dear friend of mine's father. And he got up at Levaya, spoke. Turns out this year happened to have been a lancement of my own father's from Vilgarai. And in fact, I think they were in the same cheder together as kids. I didn't really know his father very well until later on in life. My father was already gone by the time I knew his father. But Lamaisi was a Tayr Yid. He had more day safer for sure. Balbatish Yid. And this Yid, he worked in a needle factory all his years. And when he retired, he still had energy. So he became a messenger on 47th Street. Messenger, different companies would hire him. He was a very trusted man, a tremendous integrity. You have to have integrity, certainly when you're in the diamond industry over there, where you make millions of dollars of deals just with a handshake. Mazel bracha, mamish. So they saw in him being a very erlich Yid and of tremendous integrity. And therefore he was hired. One of the things he would do is he would make bank deposits. As you can imagine, in a 47th Street environment with all his jewelry, a lot of cash that comes in. And he would be trusted, and they would bundle up the cash, and he'd go to the bank, and he'd make the deposit. One day, he has a especially large deposit of cash. He goes into the bank, and he does the transaction, and he leaves the bank, and he's mamish the last customer, because you don't go at the end of the day, because you want to have as much cash as you can. You should be in the bank overnight, not in the offices overnight. So he goes in. As soon as he leaves the bank, they lock the bank, and he goes, and he leaves. About an hour later, he realizes that in his pocket, he has the cash. He gave the guy the deposit slip. The guy processed the deposit slip, but he never gave the guy the cash. It was a hein rav. It was a lot of money. What does this Yid do? At 9:01 the next morning, a minute before opening, he comes to the bank, and he's standing by the door. The guy says, "Can I help you?" And he says, "Yes, I made a deposit yesterday." And he realized this is all cash. He could have kept every penny. No one would have known. Which teller is going to know on the 47th Street Bank where everybody's bringing in cash? Who's going to know? No one's going to know. It's not like today you have cameras and everything. It's not the way it was in those days. So Lamaisa, he comes into the bank. He says, I forgot to bring the cash. And the bank manager says, oh my goodness. Takes him into the bank and locks the door. There's a teller standing there who's crying. He's weeping because the teller is responsible. If you know that, the teller is responsible. It was a hein rav, many tens of thousands of dollars. And the guy's weeping. And he goes over to the teller with him. He says, this gentleman just brought you back the cash. And the teller leaps from behind the thing and he hugs, his name is Mr. Kenningsberg. He hugs Mr. Kenningsberg. He's hugging him, said, thank you so much, very much. Then he asks that a sign be made. They take a sign, they put it in front window of the bank, closed until 10 o'clock. And he put together the entire staff of the bank and they made a party for Mr. Kenningsberg. And he gets up to speak. And the customers are waiting. They're not letting any customers into the bank. Gets up to speak. So he says, you're probably wondering why I did this. So let me tell you something. We have training programs in the bank. Training for integrity, training for motivation, training in the bank. You have to have people in the bank who are honest. Otherwise you can't have a bank, right? So what we do is we go for a few days and we go for a training professional company. It costs us many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars for all the staff to come in. And they have a training over there for a few days. And during those days, it's called an in-service, and the bank is closed during the in-service. He says, for 1 hour, he says right now, just sitting here with Mr. Kenningsberg, he says, it's worth more than all the training that I'll ever do. This is a Kiddush Hashem. That's a Kiddush Hashem. We have a tremendous capacity on so many levels.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org